So you want a world versus world? Well, what the heck is that? Well, hi, I'm Sudo, welcome back, and I'm here to show you my absolute favorite game mode in Guild Wars 2. It's the macro PvP game mode, World vs. World, that sort of takes the micro fights and team fights of PvP and blows them up to a war size. If you're just getting into World vs. World, don't worry, it's fantastic, but it can seem a little daunting at first. I'm here to help with that. Mainly because these days, it's a PvP game mode where you can actually survive for more than 8 seconds without being deleted by pros and meta builds who have been playing forever. So here's some advice on getting started. First, I'll talk setting up your build, and then we'll hop into how to actually play the game mode. If you already have your build set up, feel free to skip ahead to the second part and then maybe come back to the first, or just give the video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. First off, don't worry too much about gear to start. Provided you still have it lying around, the exotic celestial gear that you get for just leveling up a level 80 character via the instant level up ticket works pretty well for most builds, especially if you combo it with a superior sigil of vision for some damage spikes. If you don't, you can actually buy stat selectable gear from this newer golem vendor in World vs. World. This is actually one of the best ways to just get gear and trinkets, and it's one of the only ways to get an exotic aqua breather with decent stats. So keep that in mind when you're gearing out more characters, whether they're PvE or World vs. World. If you really want to go hard in the paint though, I would craft a superior sigil of cleansing, which is one of the best survival sigils in the game because it removes 3 conditions in this game mode instead of just 1 when swapping a weapon or attunement. But this does require leveling a weapon crafting discipline, which can kind of be a hard vertical wall for a lot of players, as it's a really big time sink even though it isn't as much a gold sink as it was in the days. So don't worry about it too much. If you really want Condi Cleanse and don't want to do that, just buy a Purity Sigil instead. Number 2. Play what you want or enjoy. Find a build that you jive with and skills you like for something like open world PvE, preferably with 1 stun break and some Condi Cleanse at least, and some movements somewhere. Make sure you know what your buttons do and get comfortable with them and what your combos are. People will probably tell you to eventually play X or Y for Zerging or Roaming, like Firebrand or Deadeye if you don't have a soul, but that's mostly for later. Get used to the game mode and how it functions and where stuff is first. You're not going to be having much fun if you're not comfortable in it. Third, Masteries. Second from the bottom in your Mastery panel, I would put 1 point at least into Gliding and Warclaw to start the Warclaw reward track. Barring those, prioritize auto loot via enough points in the Provisions Mastery track as well as supply capacity. After that, it's really whatever you feel like maxing first. Note these points are also per character and can be respec, so say you want to max Provisions Mastery first on one character to be able to buy the Portable Permanent Provisioner item, and throw it in a shared slot. Try to say that 3 times fast while recording a video. Thanks, Anet. Then you can use that character as well to buy any sigils or runes you might need from Heart of Thorns or Path of Fire for your builds and transfer them over. You can even do this for PvE builds as well once you get some World vs. World currency. Number 4, have fun. Between Zerging, Roaming, Dueling, etc., there's about 427 different ways to play World vs. World. Try everything and see what you're into. Join a Zerg on comms or listen for calls if you feel comfortable enough, or just roam around and see what adventures you can have. Outnumbered fights will often happen on both sides, so don't get too discouraged if you have to run back. Always feel free to ask any questions in general. This community is pretty open, as well as here on my channel. Through my entire Guild Wars 2 career, the reason I originally started streaming and making videos was to get people into this wonderful game mode, into theory crafting and build crafting, and while you don't need a deep systems knowledge of the build crafter like I do, it is fun to tinker with builds, and World vs. World has the most customization of all of them. Now that we've got our build set up, we can do a quick rundown of how the game mode actually works, and how to play it. This is the map selection page that can be accessed by pressing B. You'll notice this has a red number next to it. This is a queue. That means you'll have to hop into this queue in order to get onto this map. Generally, maps with queues have larger fights going on, so it's a good idea if you're newer to sort of gravitate to where the fights are. You can click this, and then click the map you desire and accept queue in order to get queued for that map. And when your queue pops, you'll get a little notification in the middle of your screen that says you can travel to that map. Or you can jump into a different map. There's 2 Alpine maps by default, and 1 desert map, but really what you play is up to your choice. There's also Obsidian Sanctum, which is mostly just for dailies, and Edge of the Mist, which is also mostly just for dailies. For some reason, Edge of the Mist still doesn't give pips. Please add it to the rotation, Anet. We want it back, even without mounts, or with sky scales, one of the 2. World vs. World is basically kind of like a macro PvP mode as well because the war score ticks up. Similar to a PvP match on steroids, because unlike PvP, matches don't end in 15 minutes. They end in a week. If you run through the top bar, you can actually see the war score and how well you're doing. Different objectives generate different point values, but you really don't need to know any of that. What you need to know is you run around and commit violence to solve all your problems, just like everything in this MMO. You capture camps, use siege to take towers, and follow Zergs around until you get killed and have to run back. That's a thing. There's a lot more running back in this game mode than PvP, and it turns a lot of people off, but it can also be a good downtime to chat with your friends. Other than traditional Guild Wars 2 PvP, there's really only one difference, and that's supply. This is your basic camp. Supply spawns at camps, is transported by Doliacs to towers and other structures, and is used to build siege weaponry to take towers and other structures from the enemy, which really can't be damaged outside of this siege weaponry unless you want to spend hours wailing on a gate with a Zerg. When you're at a camp, you generally want to grab supply if you can, or objective that you tend to take. Don't worry, you'll never forget to do this and have to run back. I 100% promise it. Supply is used to deploy various types of siege via different types of blueprints. The permanent portable provisioner has lots of this siege just on demand that can be bought for badges of honor, and the trading post has even more. Different siege has different costs, and it's broken down on the actual siege itself. But most siege, in general, takes 40. By default, you'll only be able to carry 15, but leveling up supply capacity can help with this. In order to deploy a siege blueprint, you double-click on it, throw it down, and then begin dumping your supply in, provided you have enough friends around to actually complete a catapult. There's a couple other nuanced things to know for World vs. World, like if you see two people off to the side just staring at each other like lovers passing in the night, looking longingly into each other's eyes, they're probably dueling. So, especially if you see someone bow and return a bow, it's a good idea to respect that. It's just kind of common etiquette. Or you don't have to, you can just jump on them, but you make peace with that. That's kind of what I do. I really enjoy roaming around and having duels and just theory crafting in general. Honorable mentions for this as well. If you have them, you want to use your celebration boosters here. And you can also get a boost for either reward track or level gain from your guild hall if they have it leveled. Celebration boosters and birthday boosters give an unbelievable boost to PvP and World vs. World reward track progress, so it's a really good idea to run through these in this game mode if you have them. But that's pretty much it. So if you like it here, feel free to subscribe and hang out. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes at 9 Eastern. I'm Pseudo. Hope you've enjoyed. And cheers! I'll see you in Tyria.